Hey, I'm Mark Miller. I'm the executive creative producer from ILM X Lab.
I'm Ben Snow. I'm the director of Vader Immortal.
Hi, I'm Colum Slevin, and I'm the head of media for AR/VR experiences at Oculus.
I'm Alyssa Finley, a senior producer at X Lab.
How long has this project been in development?
It's been in development for the better part of 4 years from episode 1. It certainly took a lot more time to do episode 1 than it did 2 and 3. Once we kind of hit our stride and Alyssa and their teams got going on this 2 and 3, we're done at a much more accelerated pace than 1. But I mean, we've been talking about Vader Immortal and doing a Vader VR series since the earliest days of X Lab back in 2014 even, I think. So, yeah.
Was it something that came out of your working on the Void VR Secrets of the Empire, or was it in conjunction around the same time?
Well, actually, we had started developing a Vader VR series that became Vader Immortal before we did the Void Secrets of the Empire. And what was great is Ben and his team had started doing some real-time tests for a Vader thing, and we were able to pivot and use a lot of those assets on Secrets of the Empire.
Yeah, and in fact, that initial prototype had been a much more passive experience where essentially you were a fly on the wall or, watching the story unfold. And in doing Secrets of the Empire, and after we got to the end of the first prototype, we felt that VR was such an opportunity for you to have presence and be a part of the story that we essentially decided we're going to reconfigure this. So towards the end of developing Secrets of the Empire, we did a test where instead of you standing there watching Vader have a conversation with another character, Vader came up and directly addressed you and convinced everyone that this was going to be the way to go for the main experience.
Okay, so the only other thing we'd add is that as of Thursday next week, Thursday the 21st of November, when people buy an Oculus Quest, through January of 2020, they'll get all 3 episodes bundled for free with the device.
So one of the great things about the game is it's very cinematic. You feel kind of like you're playing a game, but also you're in a movie. What's the challenge of balancing the two, where you don't want it to be too passive, but you also don't, you want it to be cinematic as well?
The challenge of getting that balance, it was absolutely something that I think it was a good reason to do the prototypes, and it was a good reason for the long development, because it was really trying to get that balance. We wanted there to be enough interactivity that you felt like you were part of the story and involved in it, but we didn't want it necessarily to feel like a game particularly.
Yeah, I think one of the things that's really neat about Vader is that the player is the heart of the story. Nothing that Vader wants can happen without you, and so that allowed us some real interesting opportunities for interactivity where we could bring the player in and say, yeah, well, maybe this room, this problem has been here for hundreds of years, but now that you have arrived, you have the tools to solve it. That lets us bring you to the center of the story and really makes it come alive around you.
What were kind of the technical challenges of coming to something like the Oculus Quest, which is a smaller, more portable system, versus something like you guys worked on the Void VR stuff, which is a whole location-based system?
Well, when we started talking to the team several years ago about the project, Quest was one of the first topics we brought up, because actually the headset was in development at the time. It certainly hadn't launched yet. In fact, the first episode of Vader was a launch title for the Oculus Quest. So we loved the idea of untethered VR allowing you freedom of movement for lightsaber combat, for force powers, for locomotion and movement within the space. But primarily, we started talking to the team about this, and as you say, it's a mobile device. It's not tethered to a PC, so the team had to be really clever and inventive about getting the kind of visual fidelity. Now, when you see episode 3 and you see how rich and detailed and cinematic and interactive it is, it's really quite a feat to pull that much interactivity out of the headset.
We definitely had approached the whole project as wanting to push it so it felt like you were looking as much like you were stepping into one of the movies as possible, and that included trying to get the visual fidelity in our characters and environments that felt like it was what you'd see in a Star Wars film. And so because it was under development with the new headset, we kind of decided to target making the experience look as great as it could on Rift, which is a much higher end device. And then that was the target. And I think it was funny because within the team and even with you guys at Oculus,
we
it was
were
like,
terrified.
Yeah, I was like, this is going to be our goal. And they're like, you can't be serious that you're trying to match the Rift version. And it was like, no, that is absolutely what we're going to try and do. And I credit the team of artists that we worked with and engineers and designers that they actually got it really to be comparable.
And a project like this is a series of leaps of faith, right? And early on, when we first brought up the idea of we should do this on Quest, and we brought the team down to our office and we demoed a prototype of the Quest that was like, as I was saying, chicken wire and duct tape and it just to show what it could do, and the team was skeptical because of the computing power initially.
But we walked out of that room,
converted,
exactly.
Converted.
Because it was like being so free to be able to move. It was like, you know what? Okay, it's going to be challenging to make it look as good as we want this to look, but it's worth it because this device we were convinced was a game changer, and it's. The advantages that it gives you are such, and the ease of setting it up and that sort of thing. It was all really worth it.
Yeah, speaking of the advantages of using the Quest, how did that factor into the gameplay mechanics that you integrated into the 3 episodes?
I think we learned a lot about, if you look at the dojo, for example, which is a sandbox of getting to work on your force powers, getting to, in episode 1, it was just the lightsaber, and in episode 2, we added in the force. In 3, we've got even more, we've got dual wielding, we've got force lightning, we've got even more opportunities. And I think a lot of that kind of gameplay about opening it up really comes from knowing that the player can be in the center of a space with room to play and room to do the things that feel right for them.
And also, we were able to design a lot in 360 then. So you can actually have assailants coming up from behind you. You can have things happening to you where with that cable and the management that it takes in the old school headsets, you always are constantly in the back of your brain thinking, oh, I just spun around twice. Now if I do it again, I'm probably on the floor. So, it freed up, especially in the more interactive scenes, it just freed up the design to have it come literally 360.
The first time, I remember the first time someone was testing the dojo in its earlier stages, and you had done that thing where the training remotes were coming behind you, and someone was like, I heard the training remote heating up, and I went like this, and I blocked it behind me, and it's suddenly, as Mark says, it opens up these like emergent forms of interactivity that you don't even think of because you're in a physical space, like you're immersed in a physical space.
And we were a little freer too, and as we got into episode 3, because the device was, we'd already gotten the 2 episodes shipped on that. We have characters have conversations behind you, and you can turn and enjoy watching them, or you can just enjoy the view and listening to them natter away behind you, and it gives you a little bit more of a sense of the world going on around me.
And then working on such a large franchise like this in Star Wars, like how did that process work with Disney and Lucasfilm and the overall project and storyline and characters?
I think one of the advantages, and thank you, Mark, was that we approached it like it's a high-end production, like it is a film or something like that. We got, Maya Rudolph, David Goyer was the screenwriter on it. So we got really good composers, really good performance artists to act the characters. And so it was really approached as a high-end thing. And we always work with Lucasfilm Story. this is part of the greater Star Wars story. It's canonical, and it's I think there was just a seriousness, and this is a big deal, and we're going to put good resources into it that really helped.
One last question. I don't know if you guys can answer this. Just coming off of this episode 3, are there any plans for any sequels, DLCs, spin-off?
There's no plans that we can talk about right now. Obviously, we have a great relationship with Oculus at this point and Facebook, and it's been it's been a wonderful process for all of us. So we hope there's something coming in the future.
We'd all be excited to do more.
And I think all the fans would love to see more from you guys, whether it's on Star Wars or Marvel. I know you guys did with the Void VR. If a Marvel thing is up in the Oculus Quest, I'm sure our fans will love that as well. Thank you for your time.
Thanks. We'll keep going.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.